Hi, I'm Stephanie, and this is a special end of the year episode of Texas Peach Knits. I'm filming this episode as a wrap up of my year 2022 knitting, and also to let you all know what my goals are for 2023. I've watched a few episodes like this from other knitters. I particularly enjoyed Selfish Knitter, her podcast where she really talked about how she sets her goals, and she was very just straightforward and logical about it, which I really appreciated. I also watched Anna Knitter's year wrap up episode, and I really enjoyed the episode by Shauna Stitches. So I'll link all of those YouTube channels below in case you haven't heard of them before. So I'm kind of doing the same thing where I talk about each of my projects that I did last year very quickly and then go through my goals for 2023. Now, 2022 was actually not a very heavy knitting year for me, and I think that's because I was doing a lot of sewing and quilting with a friend of mine. And that friend, because she was helping me with learning to quilt, I decided to help her with some knitting, and she really wanted to knit a blanket for her living room couch, and we chose a pattern that we thought that she could handle because she had already done some knitting, but then the lace work on it ended up being a little challenging for her. So in early 2022, I knit all of the lace on that blanket for her, which was the whole center panel, and then she did the border around the outside of the blanket. So a lot of my knitting time in early 2022, I have no record of because it wasn't for me. So overall, and I'm very happy with what I did get knit. Don't get me wrong, I don't feel like I failed or didn't do enough. I think that knitting is a very organic thing, and I think it's for fun, and being able to make things for people is a joy, and it's okay if we don't have like the really big numbers we're used to having. I think at my heyday of knitting, I sometimes would be over 44 or 45 projects a year, and that made me feel really good. But I'm also happy that this year I finished 25 projects. So I had 25 finished objects. 7 of them were hats or hat-like things. 1 was a sweater. 7 pairs of socks, which is new for me. I have never been a sock knitter, and I think I'm turning into one. 2 baby blankets, 3 toys, 2 shawls or scarves, 3 decorations. 6 of these items were for myself, so they were selfish knits, and 19 of these items were for others, whether they were friends or family members. So I'm going to quickly go through each month of the year and put up a photo, which I'm learning how to do, of each project. So in January, I had no finishes, and I think this is because that was when I was heavily working on that blanket for my friend. And if I find any photo of that, I'll try to share it. In February, I finished the 1898 hat. This was to be a gift. It's a pattern by Kristine Byrnes, and I will share a picture of it. I actually still have it because the total gift is not complete yet and it does not have a time frame. So I still have the hat and I will be gifting it at some point in the future. Next, I knit 3 Canada hats as test knits for Pinkava. I knit a large red and white Canada hat. I knit a smaller DK weight Canada hat. Both of these were out of Morocco vintage yarns, which I really enjoy working with. And then I used my leftovers from the DK hat to make myself a headband because I have large poofy hair and headbands sometimes fit me better than hats. In March, I finished the socks I was making myself. and this sock yarn was a Christmas present to myself. It's a West Yorkshire Spinners sock yarn, and I believe it's in the pigeon colorway, but I'll have to look that up. I did a broken rib pattern, and this is the first time I made a pair of socks that actually fit me comfortably. I also made socks out of West Yorkshire Spinners for my son, and he wore them for his 5th birthday. He loved these socks. In June, I made a baby blanket. It was from the Comfort Knitting and Crochet for Babies and Toddlers book. I used the stitch pattern, but I really didn't follow the total blanket pattern. It's the Citron Blanket pattern from that book. I did not put a hood on it, and I used scrap yarn, and yarn that a friend had given me when she gave up knitting. She had knit yarn for a few projects, and she's just in a stage of her life where she doesn't have any time, and so I put them into this scrap baby blanket for her. In July, I finished my Benedicta sweater by Devin, Ventre. I've shown it a few times. It's definitely a favorite. And that's Devin Ventre of Nitty McPurley. In August, I finished another pair of socks for my youngest son. They were going to be for my older son, but he had already outgrown them by the time I finished them. And I believe I shared these in my first knitting podcast. In September, I finished a toy crochet dragon, which was my own pattern, and I gave that to my youngest son. I also finished a shawl that I was knitting for my mother's birthday, the textured shawl recipe pattern, and this was out of yarn I had found at a thrift store, and I talk about it in my first episode of my podcast. I completed 2 baby bonnets. This pattern is the Merriment bonnet by French Press Knits, and I plan to knit another one this year because I think they turn out adorable, and both of these were to give away. In October, I finished my older son's socks that actually fit him this time. I also made him a Slytherin scarf to wear for Halloween, and I completed my younger daughter's Hermione's everyday socks. I made a crochet bunny for my friend to give away to one of her friends who was having a baby, and that pattern was from the Cutest Crochet Creations by Alison North called Frankie the Bunny. In November, I completed a baby blanket for a very good friend of mine who was having her 8th baby, and it was a leisure arts pattern called the Taffy blanket. I also completed a set of 4 Christmas coasters where I had the pattern published in the Blocked Knitting Magazine, which is a free online knitting magazine. In December, I completed my friend Holly's hat, a pair of Christmas nomies for my parents, my eldest daughter's Helgen socks by Anna Knitter, the Tooth Fairy bunny, and I believe that is all. So 25 projects completed for 2022. Now, for 2023, I've seen a lot of ideas for things you can do to encourage yourself to knit more and complete more projects. A lot of people are trying to do stash downs. I feel like I've been in a constant stash down like my whole life, and I don't really want to be too legalistic about my yarn. I use it for a lot of things, and I love having yarn available to me so that I can knit a last minute gift if I need to. So I really don't have a problem having a stash. One of the things I do like though is trying to use up more yarn than you buy. And I might keep track of this and I might not, but it's something that I'll have in the back of my mind. I like participating in Amy of Noble Character Crafts Make 9 Make Along. Make 9 2023 MAL is the hashtag on Instagram. She is so encouraging and very kind, and inspiring. So if you haven't watched her podcast, you should. Her make along is very friendly and easygoing. You make a board with your 9 projects that you would like to knit. You post it on Instagram, and then anytime you work on those projects, you use the hashtag and you have a chance to win one of her prizes. Now, I decided to make 2 Make 9 boards because I had already been planning more than 9 projects. I made one board of things that I would like to make myself, as well as things that I already had on the go on my needles. So, things I already knew I wanted to make for myself or others is one of my Make 9 boards. My other board is all baby items. I have a lot of friends who are having babies this year, and whenever possible, I love to help them welcome their new babies with a knitted item. Many of my friends are closer in age to me, so they're not necessarily having their first baby, and it's really nice to give a gift to the 4th or the 5th or the 6th baby or more, because those babies need presents too. So I am making a Make 9 board of just all generic baby gifts. Many of these friends that are having babies, they're not finding out whether it's a boy or a girl, so I'm just going to make a collection of things that I can give away when needed. So those are my 2 Make 9 boards, and now I'm going to go through each of the items. For the ones that I've already started, I'm going to show you the picture from the pattern, as well as the picture of my whip. So the first thing I'm working on for my Make 9 board is the Rocio by Joji Locatelli. This is a project that I started in 2013. I talk about it in my January episode of Texas Peach Knits. So if you want to hear more about this project, please go there and watch that episode. My second project is the Hamra sweater by L'Atelier des Glenets. Beautiful name. I'm probably not saying it right. And that is also a whip that I'm completing this year. My Acorn Trails sweater by Amy Herzog. I would like to finish this sweater as soon as possible so that I can enjoy it before the Texas summer starts. The Flow Shawl from Jen Lucas's Sock Yarn Shawls 2 book. This is a gift for my little sister, and I would like to finish it before next Christmas. I'm making myself the blueberry waffle socks right now, so that's my pair of socks that made it on the board. I'm sure I'll make other pairs of socks this year, but I didn't think I needed to put them all on my Make 9 board. Number 7 is a cowl hat for my husband. This is a cowl that you can twist and use it as a hat. I made him one before, and I'll share pictures, and I'm going to be making another one for him this year in his school colors. I would like to make the Anne Squared pullover sweater. This is a short sleeve sweater that I found in a Nora Gone book at my library, and I think it would look beautiful over a dress or with a skirt, so I'd really like to make this as well. And lastly, the Old Shell Shetland Shawl. This is by Madeline Weston, and it is from the Country Knits book. I believe it's Country Knits. Country Weekend Knits. And I will be making this out of the hand-spun yarn that I spun last summer, and I haven't started it yet, even though I thought I would, but I got sidetracked. So this is the one shawl for myself that I have on the docket for 2023. Okay, my Make 9 board for babies. This is fun. It's so fun to knit for babies. They're just so cute. And their things are so small, they're really fast to knit. I chose a lot of things out of worsted weight yarn because I made a purchase right around Christmas time that hasn't arrived yet that contained a lot of worsted weight yarn, and I'm hoping that it will work well for many of these projects. First of all, the Thrifty Vest by Kelly Van Nykirk. This is a pay-for pattern that uses up scrap yarn in a creative way for an adorable vest. I have made one before, and I'll try to share a picture, and I plan to make at least one this year. another Merriment bonnet, which I did knit last year by French Press Knits. I'll be knitting another one this year. Leaf Love Baby Sweater by Tega Hillard. I knit one of these about 4 years ago. It's a really fun pattern and I'm looking forward to knitting it again. In Threes Baby Cardigan by Kelly Herdrich. This was a really popular pattern several years ago. I knit one out of handspun. I'll share a photo. And I plan to knit another one this year to give away. The Kinsale Sweater by Terry Thomas. I really enjoy her children's patterns and I'm going to knit this sweater again. I knit one before and I'll knit one this year to give away as a baby gift. The Welcome Baby Socks by Anna Knitter. These socks are available for free on Anna's website, and I believe they were published in the Blocked magazine at one point. But they're great use of leftover sock yarn. I also have some Regia baby sock yarn that I will use in these socks. Jelly Bean Baby Socks by Susan B. Anderson. This is one of the first pair of socks I ever knit. They're out of worsted weight yarn and they go really fast. Number 8 is the Stacked Staghorn Baby Sweater. This is by Stacy Silla, and this is just a really pretty classic looking sweater for a baby. And lastly, the Crisscross Baby Booties by Angela Jurgens, and that is out of the 60 Quick Baby Knits book by Cascade Yarns. Now, according to this make-along, it's all about participation. You don't have to force yourself to finish anything. If I decide I don't want to make one of these baby items, that's fine. But I'm going to try to make as many of them as I can so that I can give them away. So one of the things for this year that I will be participating is Anna Knitter's Daily Dedication 2023. My husband and I decided that we are going to listen to Father Mike Schmidt's Bible in a Year podcast. We haven't listened to it before. He's done it. This will be his 3rd year. So I think the past 2 years were the Bible, and this year might be the Catechism, but we'll be listening to one of his Bible in the Year podcasts every day, sometimes together and sometimes apart, depending on his work schedule. I'll also be knitting on my oldest whip, the Rocio sweater, until it's done during that Bible in a Year podcast. And then after I'm done with that, I'll then choose my next oldest whip, or whatever is most immediately needing to be done, to knit during that podcast. One of the things I've seen online is people trying to knit 2,023 grams of yarn in the year 2023. I think I might weigh my finished objects just to see how many grams I get by the end of the year, but I'm not necessarily going to worry about making it 2,023 grams. The last thing I did, kind of getting ready for 2023, was I did the Word of the Year Generator by Jennifer Fulwiler. She's a comedian and an inspirational Catholic author. She's written several books, and she has a website called wordoftheyear.me, where you just click a button and it generates a word of the year for you. I do this for fun, and I don't think it's a serious thing, but this year I felt like she had been spying on me because the word discipline came up. And while I'm very productive and I do a lot of things, sometimes I feel like I'm a little undisciplined, and I feel like I could use a little more discipline in my life. But like everything, it's balance. I try not to stress myself out about things that are not the most important. So I think I'm going to be thinking about the parts of my life that are the most important and try to be disciplined in those things. So I hope that you're going to have a really wonderful 2023. Please let me know in the comments what kinds of make-alongs, knit-alongs, 2023 goals you plan to participate in. I think it's so fun to kind of review the year, think about what you did, and think about what you would like to do. And so that's all for this podcast. I feel like I talked really fast this time. It must have been all the notes I had. But have a wonderful year, and I'll see more of you in my monthly podcasts. Bye. Hi again, it's Tuesday, January the 3rd, and a box of some yarn that I had ordered arrived today. So since I had not finished editing my 2022 wrap-up / 2023 goals podcast, I decided to go ahead and pop back in and show you this box because it has a lot to do with my Make 9 boards. First of all, what am I wearing? This is a Catholic T-shirt Club t-shirt. I am in mom mode today and I'm having a teacher work day for my homeschooling. So I had a nice walk with a friend of mine. I took my kids to the playground and now I'm getting ready to hit the books and start getting our spring semester off to a good start. So I'm going to show you what I ordered and what I got. So you all know that I like to get deals on yarn, and last Christmas I got a great deal on my West Yorkshire Spinners sock yarn that I made my Christmas socks out of, and I really wanted to kind of watch Love Crafts this year again to see if I could get a similar deal. They sadly did not have what I was looking for in Christmas sock yarn, but found something else. So this is what I got. They had a clearance with some booklets. So this is Barocco Indigo Volume 2. It has some beautiful sweater patterns and a tank top pattern that I'm actually really interested in. And that sweater. This was maybe $1. I feel like they were just trying to get rid of them. So I got that, and then I got this Color by Kristine, which is a Classic Elite Yarns publication, and it has some nice patterns. Just some little fun extras. I didn't turn my lights on. Hopefully it's not too dark. And then I did find some sock yarn. The Heritage, Cascade Yarns Heritage Prints was on sale. I got this one, it's color number 103. And I've been looking for some lighter colored sock yarn, more like, you know, like the white socks look, because I've made a lot of dark ones. And this is browns, orange, yellow, and a cream color. And so, you know, I'm all about making myself socks now. So, and I didn't have a neutral sock yarn, so I got this Regia. And this is color number 01992, and it's just like an undyed off-white. So I thought these looked nice together. Lots of socks in my future. Now this was the experiment. They had this Afghan kit for $7. It's the Pulsing Prism Afghan. This is at a sleeve, but it looks just like a granny type Afghan. And you're supposed to hold the yarn 3 strands together with this ginormous crochet hook, which came with it. Okay, so pattern, giant crochet hook. Here's the, and then it was coming with 9 skeins of the pink and 11 skeins of the white. And I thought, I'm not going to make this into the blanket. However, if they're really sending me all of that for $7, I'm going to take a chance that I can use the yarn for all the baby gifts on my Make 9 baby gift board. And I can get creative and add other colors that I have in my stash but use these as the main color of the projects. And I've never used this yarn before. It is acrylic worsted. It's called Sprightly Yarns. And it is so soft. Like, it's not a scratchy or plasticky acrylic. It is super soft. So this pink is a beautiful pink, and I got 9 of these and 11 of the ecru, which is a nice off-white. They are so soft and really perfect for baby items. So this is going to work out wonderfully. I'm going to be able to make all those baby gifts, add in colors from my own stash to as like contrast highlight colors, and then have these be my base colors. So I'm really excited. I mean, look at this. 20 skeins for $7. So keep your eye on Love Crafts. You never know what you will find. Have a great rest of your week. Bye.